My husband Anthony was running for Congress, and so February of last year, he came home from work, and I was like, something is not right. His glucose was through the roof. They sent him straight to the ER, and they didn't even focus on his diabetes and his glucose levels. They said, your kidneys have failed, not failing, but your kidneys said, like, you need to start dialysis on Monday.
What? My name is Tiffany Whitlow, and this is Now Included Unfiltered. Today, I'm with the Dr. Teneshia Daniels. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have an opportunity to share your story about, of course, being a dentist, treating and caring for community, being a mom of two, and literally having to give your husband a little more than most wives have to give their husband, okay?
Yes.
Ooh, let's start at the top. Who is Dr. Teneshia Daniels?
Well, I am a cosmetic dentist here in Huntsville, Alabama. The mom of Abigail Daniels, who's 9, Anthony Daniels, who is 7, and then I am also married to Alabama State House Representatives Minority Leader Anthony Daniels.
Wow.
So we together own 2 dental practices as well as a med spa. So I have one practice on the north side of town in Huntsville, and then another one in Madison, Alabama. So we're pretty busy.
Busy and booked and busy.
Booked and busy.
So, as a mom, how do you prioritize your own health?
Well, I always tell people to do as I say, not as I do.
Okay.
But then I try to come in on the back end and do more.
Okay.
I see patients every day, and the first thing they tell me is I've neglected myself because of X, Y, and Z. Family, children, jobs. And then a lot of times I'm sitting there seeing myself in them. And I know what neglect looks like, and I just don't want to be that person. So I try to, take a day off. I do a lot of spa days, and I have a spa in my office, so I try to take advantage of that. But just make sure I have all of my doctor's appointments, and I have them scheduled on one day, and it may be every quarter. But I am really into now trying to take care of me, because I know now that more people need me than I actually thought.
Okay. Well, and there's just something about leading by example.
Yeah.
So, there's just a little bit where, of course, I'm sure Abigail's watching how you treat yourself, and you're kind of teaching her that. And then even for your son, he's watching and making sure that mom's taken care of. As at that age, they're probably still pulling on you more than they're giving.
Yes.
But the reality is still there. So, a lot of people don't know that I used to work in the dental industry, so obviously I know a lot about oral health, even though I'm one of the people who neglect, because I actually right now need to go to a little dental clinic. But when I am really focused on it, I understand it has a lot to do with your heart health. So can we unfold that a little bit?
Does.
Like, how does your oral health impact your heart health?
So your oral health, that is just the avenue to the body. It's the main opening to the body. And I tell my patients all the time, whatever happens in the mouth can go to the brain and to the heart. Those are the 2 main organs in the body. I had a patient today, actually, tartar plaque buildup everywhere. She was like, I haven't been to the dentist in 8 years. And we're a judge-free zone at Premier. I just need patients.
I know. I've come in there in some bad condition.
I need patients to understand that I'm here to help. The problem is that patients don't take oral health as serious as they would if the doctor says, oh, you have cancer and you need to start radiation and chemo today. And so I try to compare the 2, because you never know what neglect in the oral cavity can lead to. Oh, wow. It can lead to strokes, it can lead to heart attacks, it can definitely lead to cancer. And so when I had that dialect with her today, I saw her face change, and her daughter was in the room, and I told her, I'm not trying to scare you. I just need to have a true conversation with you.
Yeah.
Because neglecting your mouth is neglecting your entire body.
Wow.
And so that changed the narrative. And I tell my staff all the time, we are not using a scare tactic, we're using the truth.
Yeah.
And people have to understand, I mean, the death rate with patients with abscess and just having periodontal disease, those things can impact the body in ways that you could never imagine.
Yeah, I mean, in the Black community and specifically, people have said for a long time, it's kind of like, oh yeah, it hurts, but I did X, Y, or Z. And this is whole body related, really. And by the time you get to the doctor, it's too late.
It's too late.
So do you see where there are certain types of patients that really come in and it's too late? Or maybe they have high thresholds for pain. And so what might look, really bad for one, they're just kind of like, well, it hurt. But you're like, it didn't like kill you hurting?
Yes.
Like, is that a thing?
It is. It's typically the moms that are busy. It's the dads that are working 7 to 6. They come in their work boots, a trail of mud coming to the operatory, but it's like they're trying to get it in.
Yeah.
And those are the ones. It's us,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's me. It's you.
Yeah.
I mean, we allow things to just get ahead of our oral care, and it's like, okay, I brush, I floss. But it's more than that. It's deeper than that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, your teeth can look beautiful, but it's the foundation that could be deteriorating over time, and you never know until we take an x-ray, until we do probings to see how much bone loss is there, how much tissue loss is there. So it is the average working mother and father that I see that's neglecting themselves.
So if you had one line to empower them to take control of their health, what would that be?
I don't want you to die. That's it.
Say that again.
That's it. That is it. I mean, we see it all the time.
I don't want you to die. I don't want you to die. Say that out loud 3 times. And that is how important your oral health really is. Wow. Okay, well, I kind of felt like that was a personal attack. I'm just like, that was a reminder, Tiffany Whitlow, to schedule your appointments. This podcast is brought to you by Acclinate's Now Included community.
Get trusted resources backed by medical pros for your health. Tap into real experiences from people who look like you and find a safe place for your story. Walk into a space where being you is celebrated and find your power. Your health, your story, your power.
So I'm going to pivot. So, I mean, we have talked a lot about taking care of patients. We've talked about how you're really honestly trying to figure out how to maintain your own health around your busy work-life balance. You really truly shared a very personal story publicly where you literally physically gave a piece of yourself to your husband.
I did.
How was that?
Did. I mean, it was easy. It was so easy.
What was the process like of diagnosis for people who don't know and haven't read the headlines?
So my husband Anthony was diagnosed with end-stage renal disease, which is basically kidney disease. Yes, none. So most people know we were on a congressional campaign. So he was running for Congress. And so he was always tired, always fatigued. But we all were, he was in Montgomery, which he lives there most of the time. But it was a lot on him. But we all contributed to just you're overworking yourself. And so February of last year, he came home from work and I was like, something is not right. I said, I'm calling the doctor and you're going in the morning. Like, I don't care what it is, you're going in the morning. And so he got there, they did blood work. His glucose was through the roof. They sent him straight to the ER, and they didn't even focus on his diabetes and his glucose levels. They say your kidneys.
He already had diabetes?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
He did. They say your kidneys have failed, not failing, but your kidneys said, like, you need to start dialysis on Monday.
What?
This is the conversation that we're having at 10 and 11 o'clock at night in the ER. And so I'm looking
and wait, hold on, let me pause for a second. Like, these are two educated, and I mean, you have the ability to get the care that is needed. You have access to all of the care. Like, how does this happen to you?
And he goes for physical every quarter. I mean, at the State House, they have their own lab. They have their own doctor. I mean, he does his schedule is a little off.
Sure.
So I mean, his eating habits are not what they should be. But to know about kidney failure, like that was never discussed. That was
no
never
genetic history.
No.
Wow.
And so it's, now that's why it's so important to look at your labs, because when they say, oh, that's okay. You see the red spot, oh, that's okay. You see low, high, analyze it. Because now that I'm going back and I'm looking at all these labs, I'm like, the red flag was there.
Wow.
And so now we are trying to, talk to other specialists. We left, they released him, like, look, we're gonna start dialysis on Monday. I'm like, no, wait, let me get a second opinion. So we got in contact with the nephrology team at UAB. We had an appointment that following Wednesday, and they confirmed everything the ER stated. And so, I'm sitting here looking like, oh, wow. Like, being a dentist, I know about all of this.
Yeah.
I know what end-stage renal disease, what it leads to.
Yeah.
I know what it looks like. And so I was like, well, can I donate? Can I donate my kidney? And the nephrologist was like, the likelihood of you being a match is rare. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna go and do it anyway. Anthony was like, no. AD. You know AD.
Yeah. He's like, no.
And so he's like, no, you're not doing it. Like, I don't even, like, you're wasting your time doing the test. So I didn't tell him anything. I would do the same thing. Yeah, I started doing all my blood work. They had to do all these different tests on me. I had to go to UAB. I had to get, they had to look at my actual kidneys and all these ultrasounds and all these things. And they called me, they were like, you're a match. It was like even down to the size of your kidneys. Now, I am 5'4".
Yeah.
My husband is 6'2".
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I told my friends, I'm going to donate my kidney to my husband. And the first thing she said was, did you pray about this? And I was like, actually, yeah, I did. But what was crazy is that I prayed about it before I knew I had to pray about it. It was like things that you just know, like nobody could tell me that I wasn't going to be a match for my husband.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just couldn't do it.
Well, I mean, and I think as women, as wives, as mothers, like we're just natural problem solvers.
Yeah, we are.
And so you saw an opportunity to be the solution. So, okay, so he went from a no to a
hell no.
Okay.
A no to a hell no.
Okay. So how did we get to the outcome?
So I called our family members. I'm like, you need to call. I talked to my mother-in-law. I talked to my sister-in-law. You got to talk to your brother.
So it takes all of these activation points, all of these influencers to have men get to a result.
He still said no.
His mama, everybody.
Everybody. His uncles, his cousins. I was calling
your
friends.
Mom, because your mom's always involved.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he still said no. And so we were going to school, and I'm just sitting here like, how can I get this man to understand the severity of it? Like, my house got dark. My children were no longer laughing and smiling. Things had just shifted so quickly for us because we were super transparent with our children. They were there when we got the diagnosis. Yeah. They were at UAB with us.
I love that.
So they knew everything. And Abigail had done all her own little research. And so we're in the car, and I told them as we were going to school, I said, when Daddy picks you up from school today, I need you to have a conversation with him.
I would have done the same thing. I promise you I would have done the same thing.
Yep. I said, I need you to have a conversation with your dad. I said, Bubba, you're going to tell your dad that he can no longer play PlayStation with you if he doesn't get this kidney. I said, Abigail, you tell your dad that he can't send you off to prom. You're not going to get married. Like, I ran all, like, my children are very mature. You know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I ran all this down for my kids. And so when I got home, I didn't say anything. Like I said, the house was silent. Nobody was talking to anybody. It was like we all were talking in our heads. And so Abigail came to me, she was like, Bubba said exactly what you told him to say. She said, he did it, Mama. He told him. And I said, well, what did your dad say? He's like, he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. He's like, well, then we kept on, and we told him that we needed you to, take this kidney from Mom.
I cry. Yeah. I can just imagine how this feels. Yeah.
And so we went to the doctor. We had got a local nephrologist at that point, and he was just like, if you don't do this, you're gonna die. Like, I don't even know if he was given, because at that point, Anthony's function was like at 10%. And so he was like, and it's going to be this year. And so he was like, you have somebody sitting next to you that's willing to lay her life down for you, and you got to do it. And so I don't know, maybe like God stood up in my room or something on his side of the bed and was like, you're doing it. But he agreed.
Wow.
He agreed to it.
So the time period, so one of the things that we talk about in the community a lot is what it really takes for men to prioritize their health and take control of their health. And I mean, we've had other guests share, like, no, it took this and this. And actually, Dr. Brian, even at Alabama A&M, shared. He's like, my wife told me this, my mom told me this, my aunt told me this. He was like, I still wasn't doing it. So I got to hear from the male perspective. So, I mean, how long did it take for him to actually make that decision?
Well, so he didn't have much time. So this was February of last year. So February 2025. And we had the surgery June. Okay.
Well, that's
come March, you know, it was like life or death. He ended up having to do in-house dialysis. Like, we went through a whole, like, the caregiver, like, he wasn't able to work. Sometimes he wasn't even able to, like, leave the house. Like, that's how bad. And you know Anthony, like, he works out every day. Like, he's at every single meeting. He was on a
little journey posting every workout.
Yeah. And so he wasn't able to do that. So he saw his, you know, this is going to be your life if you don't make a change. And so we went through the process of, you know, the compatibility, and everything was good. I was, you know, healthy. Like, I'm not on any medication. I had, you know, gone on this health journey to lose weight and just to be a better me. But I didn't realize God was like preparing
you for this.
Yeah, preparing me for this. So, June 20th, we had the surgery. When I tell you the turnaround was so quick, February to June, like, that's not a lot of time. I had to prepare my office. You know, I have 2 offices. I had to find doctors to come fill in for me. Like, things shifted. We had to make sure we had a caregiver for the kids, because we literally had to live in Birmingham for 6 weeks.
Wow. Oh yeah, and your kid's life can't stop just because mom and dad are sick. Yes, you really have to have someone all the time. Wow. Well, kudos to you.
Thanks.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. You know, I feel like I am probably a big advocate for donating a kidney. I had my labs look great. I haven't skipped a beat. I went back to work. I mean, I'm still, you know, producing like I always, like, nothing slowed me down.
Yeah, so if there's someone out there who's nervous and believes that they want to give in some capacity, you're saying go for it and do it. It's not going to impact you per se if you're in good health.
Yes.
And then on the other side, he's healthy.
He's doing great. His labs are good. We celebrated our 6 months. You were there. We had a big party. And so he's doing great. He's doing great.
Okay. I mean, so wow. So what's next?
It's like you pray to God, like, oh, get me out of this.
Yeah.
And then it's like when you're out, you forget what happened.
Yeah.
And so I think now I'm really focused on getting not back in that era but with our prayer life and all those things.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't, I tell people, it really wasn't about the surgery. It really wasn't about Anthony being sick. Our family had gotten so busy and we strayed away, and sometimes God just has to bring you back in.
Yeah.
And this was it for my whole family.
I believe that to my core. It's funny because Lewis and I weren't planning to have another kid. We had grown kids and Ace was not in the picture at all. And the reality is Ace's name even means unity.
Yeah.
And what he did is bring everyone together. I mean, in what world do you have college students who want to come, college boys, who want to come home and be with family? They're not in the clubs, hanging out, being crazy. Like, I think Ace did that. And it was really like, no, God, I have bigger plans for you. So I understand and I get that. And even through that journey, when I look back, he's about to be 3. And so when I look back and I'm like, okay, the reality is, I strayed away, like my health, prioritizing myself. And I'm now at a point where, like, I fully
Yeah.
appreciate the journey of life and the ebbs and flows and ups and downs that come professionally and personally.
Yeah.
And really even wanted to establish this platform so that we can normalize the ups and downs, the realities that might be for you or for another working mom out there. And I just want people to kind of like take off the white coat. You're not just a dentist. You're not just a physician. You're not just in the labs as a scientist at some point studying and looking at your own blood work. You know, I mean, you're a mom. You're a woman. You're a leader in the community. And so, tell me a little bit about what community means to you.
It means everything to us. You know, we are just philanthropic. Our family, from our children to Anthony, myself, it's all about giving, you know. I remember when I had a front desk girl that started working for me, and she was just like, Dr. Daniels, you give away so much. And I was like, yeah, but we're not hungry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you know when to do it and when not.
Yeah.
And there are those that can't, and when you can, you should.
Yeah.
You know, because you're not, like I said, my family's never missed a meal. We may not have what we want to have, but by no means are we lacking. And so in that, you know, scheme of things, why not?
Yeah.
I remember my daughter, this young lady and her mother dropped a bag of popcorn. And then Abigail, we walked by, but then Abigail stopped and she ran back to help them pick it up.
Yeah.
You know, not like they were going to eat it or anything,
Yeah.
but, you know, it was
Just
like
to
they were
help.
in shambles.
Yeah.
We were at a
Yeah.
dance competition. And we all looked, and the mom was like, you know, I said, I never say anything because, you know, she has a heart of compassion.
Yeah.
And I would rather her want to always help than to not.
Yeah.
So I think it's so important for our children to see those things, you know, giving back to the community. We go into the local neighborhoods, you know, we give things for Thanksgiving. We do, you know, and we don't have to show any of this on social media. You know, it's for us, and this is a part of raising our children. You know, we have a big Easter egg roll and we invite the whole community to our home. You know, we open up the lawn and everything is free. We don't want you to pay for anything. We have one people like, well, can I sit? No, you cannot. You don't even have to bring money to this event. But it's all about our children seeing that, you know, to whom much is given, much is required.
Yeah.
And you have to give in order to receive.
Ooh, the nuggets being dropped in here today. We can make a happy meal, but that's not good for you, so don't make any happy meals, okay? It's not healthy at all. I mean, so we've unfolded a lot, but what about mental health? So I know we talked about the caregiving aspect for what you had to do to make sure your household was ready. How did you care for your mental health during all of this? And then I think just ongoing, having to lead a dental practice. And
I'm still working on that one.
Okay.
You know, I'm not perfect. There are a lot of things that I probably should do.
Okay.
But you know, it's like being that Black woman, it's like, okay, this is the hand that's been dealt. Let me play the game, you know? And so that's kind of how I've been juggling it lately.
Music,
Love
getting
music.
outside, is there any of that?
I love music, and my daughter's like, because you know I'm 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
She's like, is there a song you don't know? It is not. I know every song.
Yeah, because music was our YouTube.
It was our YouTube, and music. That was my healing. You know, every song has a meaning for me. Like even if I post a reel, I'm just not putting a tune to pictures.
Yeah.
You know, it really has a backstory to it. And so I use a lot of music for my therapy. I don't really, Anthony and I, we're kind of, you know, we do a lot of pillow talk. You know, we talk to each other. But, you know, I'm sure there were some things that he just didn't want to tell me because, you know, he's a strong man.
Yeah.
And there were some moments that I saw him in a light that I'd never seen before. But I think with our family, we got through it.
Yeah.
It took a village. When I tell you a village, my mother was here in Huntsville with our children every day, and we had friends that, oh my God, the community, when I tell you they rallied up for us.
Yeah.
I mean, they
As
never
you
went.
do for them.
Yes, they fed our family. I mean, they transported them to camp every morning and every afternoon. I mean, we even had dads that were fixing, lunch for the kids for camps. I mean, just a lot that happened. And Anthony, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, they were our caregivers. So they were there from before we went. Yes, in Birmingham. So we all went to Birmingham the day before. We had a house for them. We stayed in a hotel. And my mother-in-law cooked for us every morning, every evening. She would bring like a home-cooked meal to the hotel. Anthony had to go to the doctor every day because he had to get his lab work done every single day while we were there. So my father-in-law would be there every morning, and he would come up there, he'll get Anthony and take him to the doctor every morning. And my father-in-law actually stayed, after we moved back to Huntsville from Birmingham, he stayed with us for a good 2 to 3 months.
Wow.
Took our kids to school every day. I mean, he cooked breakfast every morning, lunch for my kids, dinner every night. I mean, we had friends that would cut the grass every week.
Wow.
I mean, we had people that would come clean our house every week. Like, we literally didn't have to do anything. And, I tell my kids all the time, people don't have to do this for you.
Yeah.
They don't have to do anything for you.
Yeah.
Even when you do so much for them, you're not doing it for them to do something for you in return. I was like, but this just shows you how blessed we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you touched on something that I don't think we've ever talked about here, and it's really that generational health aspect. How have your conversations shifted? I mean, all of the generations are here. You have it sounds like 3 generations at least having the conversations about this particular health issue. So have there been any shifts in conversation for the family, for the little ones, might be at risk for certain things?
Yes, we do, especially for little Anthony, even Abigail. They're very active, so that aspect of it is not really an issue, but making sure that we're eating better. And we try to do that anyway for Anthony. I'm like, I'm not cooking 2 meals. We're all going to eat like this because it is a good, healthy diet. And so our kids, my palate is different. I grew up with a mother that was, she was a diabetic. Everything was bland. I'm not used to eating with salt. So, I'm used to this. And it's not that it was just a healthy meal.
Yeah.
You don't need all of that.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes we do.
Yeah.
I will put some neck bones on the stove every now and then. But we do know that we have to eat those things in moderation.
Yeah.
Anthony still goes to G's every Tuesday.
Okay.
I know. That's his
a local
thing.
chicken spot. Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's how my husband is. I mean, give him some bird and some French fries, and we're good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I need a salad and some kava, some tzatziki, something else a little healthier.
So we are definitely more aware, more conscious. I'm checking with Anthony, what you eat today? How did you eat today? I think too, it slowed him down a little bit, as he needed to be slowed down.
Yeah.
He's been in politics for a long time, and he has been going. I had our kids one was on a Monday, one was on a Tuesday. He was back at work like that Wednesday or Thursday. So he's just going. But now it's family.
I love that.
And we needed that.
Yeah. You probably needed it more than you knew.
Yeah.
No, I really appreciate that. I mean, this was really formed for open, honest conversation. I mean, we even call it unfiltered because we should be able to talk about anything.
Yeah.
And the idea is to get the whole person. So always to talk about the whole health and how important oral health is in your health. And that's not really oftentimes discussed. Obviously, you talked on the brain health and you touched on how important it is for your heart, but your whole body. I just appreciate your vulnerability, the opportunity to be here and to share. I hope that your story changes the life of someone else. I hope that maybe we urge someone to maybe go be a donor for a loved one or to consider going to get checked for something. And so thank you so much, Dr. Daniels.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Now Included Unfiltered. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to give us a follow and leave a 5-star review. We'll see you next week.